It's F5 Dad here, and I've been gaming for 45 years since 1980, and I've seen every major launch from Pac-Man to Cyberpunk, and I can tell you right now, 2026 is shaping up to be the most stacked year in gaming history. We're talking about sequels that have been in development for over a decade, franchises returning after a 16-year absence, in one game that might be the biggest entertainment launch of all time. I've narrowed this down to 15 games that have me generally excited. These aren't just hype trailers. These are titles I'm going to be playing at 4 a.m. before work and before the family gets up. So let's get into it. Let's start off with the bang and the most obvious one. Grand Theft Auto 6 launches November 19th. This is going to be one of the most anticipated games of 2026. Rockstar has spent 13 years developing this game. In fact, 13 years ago, if I recall, I was playing GTA 5. I think it would have been on the Xbox One. That is how long ago this was. We're going back to Vice City, but it's not the 80s Miami anymore. This is a modern day Florida with two playable characters. We got Jason and Lucia. Lucia is going to be the first female protagonist in GTA history. All of the trailers we have seen up to this point has shown weather systems, NPC behaviors, and environmental detail with graphics that will make any game currently out there simply look last gen. And here's my take. This game is going to simply dominate 2026. I think everything else on this list, they're going to be fighting for oxygen around GTA 6's November launch. And in fact, if you're a developer, I would highly recommend you do not release your game anywhere within probably 2 months of this game. If you're a fan of my channel, you already know my cat Claire is based on this video game series, and on February 27th, Capcom's going to take us back to Raccoon City with Resident Evil 9 Requiem. 30 years after the original outbreak in the Resident Evil timeline, we're going to be playing as FBI analyst Grace Ashcroft alongside Leon Kennedy. What really makes me excited, Capcom is going to be blending two gameplay styles. Grace is going to get a slow burn survival horror sections with limited ammo, locked doors, classic Resident Evil tension, whereas Leon is going to get some action-heavy sequences. The Resident Evil engine in this game looks incredible here, and Capcom's track record with remakes since Resident Evil 2 has been simply flawless. I've been playing Resident Evil since 1996 on the PlayStation 1. This franchise has shaped survival horror. Seeing Capcom return back to Raccoon City with modern tech is simply the reason why I still game today. Up next, we got Pearl Abyss is going to be launching Crimson Desert on March 19th, and honestly, I think this is going to be the dark horse of 2026. This all started as Black Desert Online spinoff, but evolved into a fully blown standalone single-player open-world role-playing game. My understanding, there will be up to 3 playable characters throughout the game, but your main protagonist is going to be a character called Cliff. He's a mercenary captain in a Nordic-inspired fantasy world. What really caught my attention is the gameplay footage. This game looks like Assassin's Creed meets The Witcher 3 with Dragon Dogma combat, massive boss fights, horseback battles, in a world that Pearl Abyss claims is 5 times larger than anything that they have built before. And honestly, I am still going to be cautiously optimistic. Pearl Abyss knows MMO worlds, but the single-player narrative, that is going to be new territory for them. I think the graphics and the tech just simply looks amazing. It is going to be powered with the Unreal Engine 5 doing all the work here, so fingers crossed, and I'm looking forward to this game when it does release. I know there's been a lot of debate around the character models, so you're either going to love it or hate it, but Fable is back. 16 years after Fable 3, Playground Games, the Forza Horizon team is rebooting this franchise for fall of 2026. The new Fable is not going to be a remaster, it's a full reimagining of Albion with the Unreal 5 engine. The most recent gameplay is showing off that British humor, it's still intact. The choice and consequence systems are much deeper, and the world, to be honest, looks absolutely gorgeous. And yes, chickens have been confirmed to be in the game, so feel free to kick away when you want. I am excited, but I am going to contain that excitement because the original Fable on Xbox in 2004, it was overpromised, and look, it was way under-delivered, but the game still had heart. In fact, I played through it and I still beat it. Playground Games has only made racing games for 14 years, but they do understand world building and player freedom. If they nail the role-playing game system, this game could be extremely special. We do have Insomniac Games, the studio that gave us Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. They are making Wolverine, and it's launching fall of 2026. The game trailers that I've seen have shown brutal, visceral combat. This is not a kid-friendly superhero game. Logan is ripping through enemies with his claws, and Insomniac's calling this their most mature game yet. We're getting characters like Mystique and Omega Red, and the story is supposedly set in Madripoor. When you break all this down, Insomniac Insomniac Games has an amazing track record. Their Spider-Man games has redefined superhero gaming. If they bring that same polish to Wolverine with an R-rated edge, this game could easily be Game of the Year material. I do love my racing games, and on May 19th, Playground Games takes Forza Horizon to Japan. Fans have been asking for this setting for years, and it is finally happening. Here's what stood out in the gameplay reveal. 550 cars at launch. Tokyo City streets are 5 times larger than any previous Horizon map, and you're going to start as a tourist who has to qualify for the Horizon Festival. That is brand new to this series, as previous games just kind of threw you straight into the festival. Why this matters for racing fans: Japan's car culture, everybody knows, is legendary. Drift racing, mountain passes, tuner culture. If Playground Games captures that authenticity, this could be the definitive arcade racing game of the generation. Oh yes, the Coalition is going back to the beginning. That's right, we got Gears of War E-Day. It is a prequel set 14 years before the first Gears of War. We're going to be playing as Marcus Phoenix and Dom on Emergence Day. That is the day the Locust Horde first surfaced. This is going to be the Coalition doubling down on what made Gears iconic. A linear, story-driven, cover-based shooting. No open world elements like Gears 5. Just pure, brutal Gears combat in the city of Kelowna. I played the original Gears in 2006, and I think every single Gears game afterwards, and it did redefine third-person shooters. Seeing the Coalition return to that formula with the Unreal Engine 5 tech, that's exactly what this franchise needs, especially after Gears 5 divided the fan base. March 13th, Capcom is going to launch Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection, and this is a completely different take on Monster Hunter. Instead of hunting monsters, you're going to tame them. Turn-based combat, monster collecting, and a full role-playing game progression. This is basically Pokemon meets Monster Hunter with a AAA production value. You're going to play as a monster rider, exploring a vibrant fantasy world, hatching monster eggs, and building your team for strategic turn-based battles. The art style looks gorgeous, it's colorful, it's detailed, and it is going to run on modern hardware across all platforms. I have played many of the Monster Hunters, and Monster Hunter Stories 2 in 2021 did surprise me. It was a legit JRPG with 60 plus hours of content. Stories 3 looks even bigger with dual protagonists and a darker story. Up next, we got some vampire love. We got the Blood of Dawnwalker. It is coming in 2026 from Rebel Wolves, a studio that was found by the director of The Witcher 3. If that pedigree alone doesn't get your attention, I don't think anything will. This is a dark fantasy open world action role-playing game set in 14th century Europe during the Black Death. Vampires have seized control when you're playing as Cohen, a Dawnwalker, half human, half vampire. You've got 30 days and 30 nights to save your family or seek revenge on the vampire who cursed you. And here's the hook. Your abilities are going to change based on the time of day. Human during the day, vampire at night. The day-night cycle isn't just an aesthetic. It fundamentally changes how you're going to play. Combat looks like Witcher 3 with vampiric powers, and it is built on the Unreal Engine 5, so this is going to be a graphical showcase. I am hoping for the best here, as The Witcher 3 is one of the best role-playing games ever made. This team knows open-world narrative design. If they can capture even 70% of that magic with a vampire twist, this could be the sleeper hit role-playing game of 2026. Up next, we got an IO Interactive. The Hitman Studios making a James Bond game. 007 First Light is a young Bond story set before Dr. No. IO Interactive, no stealth gameplay. The modern Hitman trilogy is some of the best stealth design ever made. Sandbox missions, multiple approaches, immersive sim mechanics. Now apply that to James Bond. This could be the first truly great Bond game since GoldenEye 007 in 1997. That is 29 years of mediocre to bad games. IO Interactive has the pedigree to finally break that curse. Phantom Blade Zero is a Chinese-developed kung fu action role-playing game from S-Game, and the gameplay footage simply looks ridiculous. We're getting parry-based combat, over-the-top boss fights, and a dark fantasy version of ancient China. The game director worked on Soul Calibur, so the weapon combat does have some pedigree. I am looking forward to this game simply because I don't think we see enough Chinese game development in the AAA space. Yes, we did have Black Myth Wukong that broke through in 2024, and I think Phantom Blade Zero looks like it's aiming for the same level of polish and spectacle, and absolutely count me in when this game does release. Exodus is a sci-fi role-playing game from Archetype Entertainment, a studio founded by ex-BioWare legends who made Mass Effect, Dragon Age Origins, and Knights of the Old Republic. This game is built on Unreal 5 engine and stars Matthew McConaughey as the lead character. The story does revolve around humanity droid that fled a dying Earth 40,000 years into the future. You're going to be a traveler exploring alien worlds to find artifacts that can save humanity. The hook is the time dilation. When you travel at light speed, months pass for you, but decades pass back home. Your choices are going to have generational consequences. The gameplay does look like Mass Effect meets Interstellar, third-person shooting, planetary exploration, faction relationships, and branching narratives. The trailers do showcase some insane graphics, alien environments, massive space stations, and creature design that's going to rival anything that most of us have ever seen. If the team does this right and they can recapture that magic, Exodus could be the Mass Effect successor we've all been waiting for. Halo Combat Evolved turns 25 years old in November 2026, and Microsoft is remaking it in the Unreal Engine 5. This is the Xbox game, the game that launched an empire. The Master Chief Collection remastered Halo 1's graphics in 2014, but this would be a full ground-up remake. New engine, new AI, expanded story elements. Think Resident Evil 2 remake, but for Halo. In saying that, I am cautiously optimistic. 343 Industries has struggled post-Bungie. Halo Infinite launched incomplete and lost the majority of its player base, but a remake of the best Halo game with modern technology, to me, that's a little harder to mess up, and all you need to do is just follow the blueprint. Let's hope 25 years later they can keep that promise and make one of the best Halo experiences out there. Up next, we got Capcom sci-fi mystery game Pragmata, and it has been in development for a while, and I did beat the demo when it got released. The atmosphere is incredible. It has puzzle solving, environmental storytelling, and this unsettling sci-fi horror vibe. Think Dead Space meets Portal. It is kind of creepy, cerebral, and visually stunning. It is built on Capcom's Resident Evil engine, and the game does look pretty incredible. After playing and beating the demo, I am very curious where the full game goes. Pragmata is going to be the original IP for this generation, and if the demo is any indication, I think they're going to be cooking up something special. My final game is Unknown Worlds, is bringing us back underwater with Subnautica 2. The original Subnautica is one of the best survival games ever made. Alien ocean planet, base building, terrifying deep sea creatures. Subnautica 2 is confirmed for multiplayer co-op for everybody who's been waiting for this. Playing with friends in that world is going to change everything. Exploring the abyss with a buddy makes it kind of less terrifying, or more terrifying when you both die in the dark. I think Subnautica has always nailed the atmosphere, the progression, the environmental storytelling, and if Subnautica 2 keeps that core while adding co-op, this is definitely going to be an instant buy for anybody out there. I want to thank everybody for watching the video, and those are my 15 most anticipated games of 2026. In 45 years of gaming, I've never seen a year this stacked. GTA 6, Fable, Resident Evil, Wolverine, my God, it's relentless. What are you most excited for? Drop a comment below. And if you're looking for Steam weekly deals every Tuesday, I've got you covered. Hit subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.